Ladies and gentlemen, this would be a very hardcore uh, fireside chat and one-to-one chat as I invite Colonel Rajeev Mannali, Chief Executive Officer at the SUT Pathum Hospital, Trivandrum, to please join us now onto the stage, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll invite you to give in a thunderous applause for him. And also, I'm going to welcome Mr. Mayank Badhwar, who's our senior editor, to please welcome him onto the stage for this very indulging chat, ladies and gentlemen, that we shall all witness. Welcome, Colonel Manali. It is, of course, a pleasure to have you here, sir. Thank you. Over to you, Mac.
Good afternoon, everyone. Leadership often begins with command, but its true test lies in care. Today's conversation is about a journey that bridges two worlds that demand courage, clarity, and compassion. Our guest has led men in uniform where decisions are measured in seconds and stakes are life and death. Today, he leads a super specialty hospital where the battlefield has changed, but the responsibility remains just as profound. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Colonel Rajeev Mannali, MD and CEO, SUT Super Speciality Hospital, Pattam, Kerala. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So let me, so let me begin by asking. Hello. Hello. So let me begin by asking, uh, you transitioned from an army man to a CEO of a super specialty hospital. So what motivated you for this transition?
A very interesting question. First of all, I must thank VOH for having given me this opportunity to be here. I was actually wondering as to whether listeners would be interested in hearing or learning about a transition or a leadership journey and things like that. Seeing the number of people here and seeing the sort of response, I think it's worthwhile. Now, coming to talk about this journey and what has motivated me, I think I should take my mind back to 1971, 1972 era. Two things that have inspired me regarding leadership is, we all remember, at least the elder ones remember, the 1971 operations, which changed the sort of scenario as far as Indo-Pakistan relation goes. I was a young boy, 17 years old almost, and I was preparing for National Defense Academy. I was motivated mostly to join the forces through the NDA by seeing one image of Captain Mullah sitting on the deck of the ship and of captain of INS Kukri going down while saving his entire command. To me, that perspective of command was extremely important. The first motivation to be able to command, to be a leader, was undoubtedly Captain Mullah. I think in retrospective, we should put our hands together to appreciate the gentleman who laid down his life for the country and was pivotal in motivating lots of people like me. That's the first inspiration that I had. The second inspiration, which I think once again, these are all the perspectives of a 17-year-old lad. I was, after having been selected in the SSB, Services Selection Board, I was at Command Hospital, Pune, sometime around April 1972. And we were put up in the officers' ward in Command Hospital. We were to go through the various tests and things like that to be eligible for medically being selected. And what do I see there? I see hundreds of young officers and men who have lost their limbs in the war. in the minefields, hundreds. I was actually carried away by the spirit of these gentlemen. They were all laughing away, joking about the battlefield experiences and things like that, with little worry about the limbs that they have lost. I also saw the nurses who were caring for them. In fact, not only physically caring for them, and even allowing a little bit of mild flirtation. You can, I mean, I don't know whether I'm able to express what I saw there. And I said, oh God, this is what is care. And I was motivated to say that, one, leadership, important. Secondly, the care that those nurses of Command Hospital, Pune, then displayed. And as seen by a 17-year-old lad, I remember this to date, and I feel that is what care is all about. So, if I have transformed, I have transitioned into, now if I may call myself as a caregiver, I think these two aspects of command and care have influenced me.
So, sir, in what ways does your army discipline helps you improve the hospital efficiency and patient outcomes?
I think once again it's a very interesting question. I feel personally that there should be more army veterans coming into the healthcare field. Most people may or may not agree, but my perspective is that discipline, or the bedrock of discipline, if translated into the healthcare scenario, it could do wonders. I'll just take it this way. I am in my 5th hospital today. I have been in a number of hospitals, including CMC Vellore, where I was there for a brief period of about a year. And I don't know, it may be in my destiny, I've been turning around hospitals. That has been, must have been a unique stroke of destiny. In all the places where I have had opportunity to turn around hospitals, I found the biggest problem was lack of discipline. Lack of discipline amongst the entire category of people in a hospital, starting from doctors down to the lowest attendants and things like that. In all these places, I found my personal experience, by bringing in discipline alone, I could translate that discipline into fiscal or financial discipline too, and turning around the hospital was not too much of a problem. So basically, I feel that discipline has a big role to play, if practiced, in every healthcare organization which we could think of. Corporate hospitals, mission hospitals, any sort of hospital. If the discipline is brought in, and not through coercion, by let's say, an induced discipline, a discipline which they see in the person on top. I think that would be the ideal way to transform healthcare, bring about compassion into healthcare. And I think I once again strongly feel and advocate that we must have more veterans from the armed forces into the business of care.
Sir, hospitals often function like war zones during emergencies. How do you prepare your team for such moments?
Again, an interesting question. Your comparison of hospital management scenario into a war zone, for some reason or the other, I like that. Now, how do you prepare people? Let's say code blue, RRT, and things like that, which we are familiar with on a day-to-day basis in a hospital scenario. If you have and we all know it's all about quick reaction. So how do you bring in this quick reaction? I think in an army scenario, especially with this counterinsurgency operations and all mounting on a daily basis. We used to have and we still have a QRT, quick reaction team. That means, should there be an incident anywhere, there is a team ready 24 hours, 24 by 7 to react immediately within the shortest time, maybe even 5 to 10 minutes. This is exactly what we see in the case of RRT and Code Blue and Code Violet and any other codes that we can talk about. So the comparison is actually genuine, it's correct. And we must ensure that our reactions are absolutely in an army way, in a disciplined way. Let's even talk about extending it a little further. We talk about the golden hour, be it the stroke, be it the cardiac treatment and things like that. If things have to happen in 60 minutes from the time the patient is brought in, or the patient notices having a problem at home, to the time he comes into the hospital, to the cath lab or to the stroke ICU and things like that, every minute counts. So your reaction at every stage, including the ambulance driver, the nursing attendants, emergency room, everywhere, that sense of purpose, the immediate action, that has to be there. And I would equate the quick reaction team in the army to a similar structure in the hospital to take care of emergencies.
So, what leadership lessons from the battlefield are most relevant when you are dealing with doctors, nurses, and caregivers?
I think in any armed forces scenario, the leader is important. How the people come across him, the command comes across him, is very, very important. The leader leads the way. And Indian Army is very well known for that. The young officers lead into every battle. Every battlefield scenario, the young officer leads. Quite contrary to some of the other countries which we see, including our neighbors, it doesn't happen. The officers are right behind, asking people to go forward. It does not happen in the Indian Army, or Indian Armed Forces for that matter. And that is where the whole system starts. So people see their leaders in action, the leaders leading them where the situation is difficult. I think in a hospital scenario too, there is a big role for the leader to be proactive, to be seen, available anywhere and everywhere there's a decision to be taken. I think that's immense, that the very presence of the leader, the very faith or the trust that the people, the workforce has in the leader, that translate into excellent outcomes. This is my personal belief, and I think wherever I have been, I have seen this actually resulting in turning around the hospitals.
Sir, I have some rapid fire questions for you as well. One toughest decision a hospital CEO has to make.
I think most decisions are tough decisions, be it fiscal, be it clinical, be it otherwise. I think one of the toughest decisions which I have had to take is when I found clinicians or surgeons for that matter, brilliant in their field, but they do not follow the ethical practices that we expect them to do. Despite the nod, the way they are encouraged to be more ethical, when they have failed to do so, asking them to leave has been a painful and a tough decision, but one has had to take that for the betterment of the society and the healthcare organization at large.
So, army life or hospital life?
I think both have its own pluses and minuses. If I would look at it from the perspective of my children, who are today grown up, both of them are doctors today, they would say that they have missed me right through their growing up age. I think that's a con. I think that is I do not know how much well understood that is by my civilian friends who have not been through this army business of being in the army. Your children miss you. You are not there when they have a big event in the family. It's not possible. Likewise, even in healthcare, it's a 24/7 job. You've got to be there. At least your presence has to be felt. And very often, you have to put things aside because you are required in the hospital or you are required in various leadership roles in the hospital and outside of it.
Thank you, sir, as we are short on time. Thank you for sharing your experiences, life lessons with your audience, and thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I must thank you all for the patient hearing. It was wonderful answering the questions because it is all, there was no script, there was nothing which I could prepare for. It had to come from the heart and it has. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Colonel Mannali, we can promise you it was more evident for us, so fruitful to hear you, sir. Thank you so much. Do we have Dr. Naveen here? While I request you to stay with us, Pinky ma'am, Pinky or Dr. Naveen, either one of you. Yes, yes. I'm also going to be. There is. Dr. Naveen, if I can please request you to hand over a token of appreciation to Colonel Mannali here, please. And thank you, Mayank, for taking it so seamlessly and bringing it brilliantly. Thank you so much. Dr. Naveen, if I could also request you to hand it over to our friend Mayank also. Thank you, Colonel Mannali. Thank you so much. But I think, yes, we'll have a picture together, please.